it's a positive film. It has heroes and villains, and that it essentially is a fun movie to watch. It's been a long time since people have been able to go to the movies and see a sort of straightforward, wholesome, fun adventure.
Well, it's a fantasy. It's not science fiction so much as it is space fantasy. And it's about people. It's finally about people and not finally about science.
The story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much nonsense to hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of.
Sort of boiling down religion into a very basic concept. The fact that there is some deity or some power or some force that sort of controls our destiny works for good and also works for evil.
Marvelous, healthy innocence. Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go bang bang and people fall over and are dead, but, no horrors. A sort of wonderful freshness about it, kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
It's got whatever you want it to be. It's pure entertainment. It's like a roller coaster ride, and it can be interpreted as long as you enjoy it, which is the intention.
Hello and welcome back to Generation Skywalker. This is episode 21 of The Modern Way. Wow, the only thing that's modern about this bloke is his children, really. Good evening, Jez.
Could have gone to any one of us, couldn't it, really, that one? Good evening, Stu. How are you?
Not bad, mate, not bad. Good to hear your little voice.
Good to be back on The Modern Way.
And we've also got with us Dan Burgess. Good evening, Daniel.
Hello there.
Oh, blimey. Very keen. Very keen. And we've got Craig. Good evening, Craig.
Good evening, Stuart. Hello, everybody.
Well, full house. It's nice. It is nice. So, we're back on The Modern Way. Mid-October we last released The Modern Way. So it has, by the time this comes out, it's going to be a couple of months since we've done one. But basically The Modern Way is just that. It is a show all about modern toys from Star Wars, any era. We tend to go through the recent announcements and any toy lines. It's good to be back to chat about this stuff. And straight away, Dan, I want to come to you because we're all over social media and we always give the shout outs at the end. But I wanted to do it at the top of the show because you're running a modern Instagram page, which is a side off our main Instagram. What can people find on the modern Instagram page and where can they find it?
Oh, well, first of all, they can find it at Gen_Skywalker_modern. And yeah, I've been hitting it hard the last few weeks, and we'll be continue to do so through December and beyond. We're doing unboxings of the Funko Pop Advent Calendar. I started posting up videos, old Power of the Force toy adverts and Micro Machine toy adverts and other clips related to toys. I think there's one of Harrison Ford wrecking a hot toy that's doing quite well at the minute. So yeah, I'm hitting that hard. So yeah, the number of followers are going up. Yeah, come over and see what's going on.
And especially as this show comes out, he will highlight everything we speak about in the next 3 days. So that's
it's already been highlighted on there. They've all been highlighted. All this stuff we're talking about tonight's already on there.
You don't know what we're talking about, yeah. Curveballs in. Yeah. So let's talk acquisitions. Since we recorded, it was the beginning of October. It's now the beginning of December. That is 8-9 weeks worth of modern toy collecting. So what have we got, Craig?
That's a good question. Not a lot, really. Very exciting. A hanging ornament from Shop Disney featuring Princess Leia and R2-D2, which I did a little unboxing of, which you can go and watch. But it's the scene where Leia is hiding the Death Star plans on the Tantive 4 just before she's discovered by the stormtroopers. She's bending down and hiding the plans in R2. And I think we're going to talk about them a bit later on. But that's probably my only modern purchase since we last met up and talked about this stuff. Not very good, is it? You're going to sack me off the show?
No, you're I believe you'll buy loads this month.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction, yeah. To make up for it. Jez, what about yourself?
Yeah, well, Jez, as in the only vintage collector who doesn't really collect modern, Yeah, I've had a few things. I wasn't on the October show. It's just been a while for me. But going through it, it's the vintage collection. I've been getting various vintage collection bits and pieces. Plus the Return of a Jedi Luke Throne Room Duel. You know, we mentioned that a few shows back. I think it came out in 2003 of Luke in the most ugliest pose ever, which it's just a crazy little piece. I've got that. But I got, Rise of Skywalker, Sith Trooper, Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader. I got the Shea Vizsla Expanded Universe. And I got a few bits which are just on sale. There's some really good sale pieces at the moment in some of the retail shops. So I got a Mandalorian Mithril, a retro Grief Cargo, which was really cheap. The retro Luke prototype vintage collection. I had to get one of those, and the Droids edition R2D2. So yeah, a few vintage collections, and I absolutely love it, the Aura Singh Black Series. Again, just really cheap, like something like, I don't know, £7 or something like that in some shops. So a few bits and pieces which, you know, really not that much, not much more than a pint in your local sort of, you know, in your local pub. So yeah, all going all right. And I can't believe it, the most expensive advent calendar ever. You guys convinced me. I got the Funko Pop advent calendar, and I love it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Although day six, my door was empty. It better have dropped in the calendar, because I'm aware that it was Princess Leia.
If you open the side up, you can pull the whole section out, because I've had a couple that have dropped around inside the box. They might be muddled up now, but
my daughter was devastated.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Pull the side out. It's not sellotape. Just pull the side out, and you can slide the whole tray out with them all in.
Sounds like a lot of effort. I'll just find two at some point.
Really?
It's not really much effort, but there we go. It's good. So yeah, I've got some. Still not opened anything yet, apart from the advent calendar. This Aura Singh's looking at me as if to say, "You want to open me?"
How much did you pay for it? How much did you pay for the advent calendar?
40. I think it was 40.
Okay.
It was, I think they were meant to be, they were priced up at 50, and it was just on the sale for like $39.99 in a retail shop. I think it might have been the Entertainer or one of those.
But can I tell you something though? You're getting 24 brilliant little Christmas decks you can get.
I love them.
And they're amazing. I mean, it's door 7 today when we're recording. I haven't opened today's yet because I've literally just got in, but we've had some great ones already. Like the mini Darth Vader. My daughter's wandering around with a big bobblehead and the small one as father and son. She doesn't quite get it, but hey, we'll let her off. Yeah, I love
the R2D2 with antlers.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And they'll come out every year. And, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm a changed man because I'm looking at this now and I'm like going, Funko Pop's all right, aren't they?
Yeah, I've enjoyed all the Christmas ones I've opened. The big Christmas R2 was fun. Yeah, definitely. Nice, mate, nice. Dan, then, what have you picked up?
Oh, I've got 2 fun pieces. So I picked up the Life Day Chewbacca from the Disney store.
I bought one of them. I forgot about that. Still in its bag.
And I got a Snowman Darth Vader Funko Pop after your video accusing me of having no Christmas spirit on TikTok. And I suppose the big piece I bought this month, or in the last couple of months, was the quarter scale Mando Hot Toy, which is awesome. And I've done an unboxing of that. So yeah, go and check it out on YouTube.
Very nice. Very nice. Bits and pieces. Can
we get your pad and get your list out?
Well, to be honest, I think when Jez had gone to the Entertainer, I think he'd put a post up or a message up saying, there's a great sale on here. And I bought myself a little box full of stuff to open, which I haven't got round to opening yet. So I've got a whole bunch of vintage collection. I can see I can see about 10 from here. And I can see a stack of Black Series. So new ones of those, which I haven't delved into yet. Also got one of those fantastic Life Day Chewbaccas. Still in the box as well at the moment, but they will get out. Also bought a great big box of Bendhams. Don't ask me why. I just saw someone selling them and I thought I'm going to take all of them. Again, they're still sealed in the box. And also, I've just actually opened it. I thought I'd do a cabinet with a few modern prototype stuff. So I have just opened up tonight. It's been here a couple of weeks, but I've got a Lot Dodd from 2002, the Star Wars Saga collection. And I've also got a First Shot Captain Typho from the same range from 2002. So I will get them somehow on display with their example carded. They look quite nice with a finished products. I've already got the Dancing Girls from Power of the Force 2, from Jabbers.
What are you looking at price-wise for a modern prototype? Is it Hot Toys money or?
So it depends. I mean, there's some stuff pops up for about 40 quid.
Yeah.
And other stuff goes for 700-800 quid. I bought those over. I don't know if you noticed online, they had on 2 or 3 pages, it was a modern prototype weekend, kind of like make me an offer weekend. So, you know, I went in low, and there was things like some Kenobi figures from, I think it was an episode 1-1, which I think that went for about 700-800 quid. There was a couple of unreleased figures from episode 1. I know Dave Tree's got a couple of those, but one of those sold. I think that was 4 figures. But I mean, there's a real vast scale depending on what you want.
I do like the idea of getting one. I quite like a modern Darth Vader prototype of something. Not fussy, but
I think your mainstay characters are
pricey.
The pricier.
But they're not vintage price.
No, that's it. And it's I just thought to make just a nice just one cabinet full of all this stuff and what their produced pieces were like. But I bought other stuff, but at the moment I haven't really written anything down. So that is where we're at. So before we get into, I mean, this is a very, as shows go, this is going to be very announcement heavy. It has been a few weeks since we've done anything. Although I say announcement heavy, there's not as many announcements as what you probably like over an 8-9 week period, but it is what it is. But just before we get to that, January's episode will see us do a complete review of 2022 like we've done in the past, where we go through the things, we look at the best figures, the worst figures, etc. So I don't want us to go into that right at the moment, but I just wanted to know what Jez has just touched on his, what your modern journey has been like for 2022, your personal journeys with modern, whether you've changed direction, whether you've got into modern, whether you've distanced yourself a bit from modern, because I think we've all had very different experiences this year. And Dan, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, I think I've alluded to it the last few shows, and probably going back over a year. I haven't bought any Black Series for myself now for over 18 months, and I find myself moving further away from the vintage collection as well. It has been all about the Hot Toys, but I think I've been quite sensible this year with that. I think I've got 4 altogether. I think I've got another 4 on pre-order on various payment plans. And I'm quite comfortable with that at the minute. I don't feel I'm missing out on anything. I'm not particularly happy with Hasbro's output and the way they're presenting this stuff with all these different. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason sometimes to these announcements and releases. It's just all over the shop. And you know, we're doing this show every month, and I struggle to keep up with it. So God knows what other people do. We're making lists of this stuff. We're still scratching our heads sometimes. So for me, it's more about getting the bigger pieces, more expensive pieces, and getting them less often.
Interesting, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still buying a lot of vintage, and it's interesting. It's an interesting question, and it did force me to look at the things I've been buying. And there are 3 themes, and I think some of it was informed by the fact that I went and did a celebration this year. So I picked up things that I maybe wouldn't have done had I not been around in person. So we've mentioned the retro figures. I like those. I think they fit with what I'm doing with my space. I think Hasbro do a good job of those, but I don't really touch the Black Series or the vintage collection. The other theme I would say is Tiki. So the Tiki mugs, I did buy a few bits when I was over in the States. Again, we'll be talking about it later, but we've been speaking to Beeline more recently, and it's just sort of reignited my love for some of that stuff. So I bought the whole first wave last week on eBay because it was there as a set of 6 for a good deal. So the Tiki stuff keeps coming in. Just when I keep telling myself that I'm out and I don't have enough space, more arrives. And I think the third, I think you put 3 of the same character on a shelf and suddenly you're a Focus collector. So there's been a few Princess Leia bits this year, and a milestone statue I think was ordered probably the year before but arrived this year. But I picked up the little ragdoll from Downtown Disney and this ornament. So a few little Leia bits and pieces, but it's quite a tentative exercise. I'm very selective about the modern art I'm buying at the minute, I think.
Jez? I know that you've probably been on the biggest journey out of us all with regards to modern.
Yeah, you're right. I think I've been on the biggest journey, but I think I still spend in the least amount out of the crew. I think so last year I had my big sort of epiphany moment and ordered the Gentle Giant Luke bust, the Luke X-Wing bust, which is finally winging its way over from America. Yeah, that was last August. So, yeah, that was a significant period of time ago, but I guess it's kind of similar to some Hot Toys journeys going to be. So I ordered the Luke X-Wing Gentle Giant last year. Going to get that this weekend. It's going to be awesome. But then at the beginning of the year, I said I'd like to have one sort of example of each of the vintage collection, if I could, So I wanted to collect one from each of the TV shows, one from each of the film ranges, and so on and so forth. So that's been good fun. What was really nice for me, what I really, really enjoyed, was going to a few shops and then choosing one from a peg. Something which I hadn't done in 30 years or so, probably longer than that, 40 years. Getting to choose a carded figure in a shop from a peg is one of those feelings which, it was just brilliant. It was exciting, and it gave me a buzz, which was an affordable buzz because it wasn't a great deal of money. And if you can do something in the hobby, if it makes you feel good, without breaking the bank or without upsetting anyone or anything like that, then brilliant. It's small wins, isn't it, from a looking after yourself point of view. So for me, that's been great. I've got a few left, which I'm sort of, keeping my eye on eBay, looking for deals. And I think at the moment, apart from a Bad Batch one, a Revenge of the Jedi one, and a Revenge of the Sith, and then when Andor come out, I've got the full set at the moment, so I'm really, really pleased with that. But it's just, so that's been good fun. And I also sort of broke my hot toy cherry after listening to all of you and listening to the various shows. I've ordered a hot toy through Good, the Bad and Robots, and that's going to be delivered next year, which is the Luke Bespin one, and really looking forward to that. So yeah, quite a journey, but one hot toy, one Gentle Giant, and a few sort of cheap vintage collection. So nice range, but not really breaking the bank too much.
Nice. It's nice to dabble in that. And you're right, going into a shop and being able to actually look at these things is good. And may that continue.
What about you then? How's your journey been this year?
Yeah, it's been good. So I have decided to do a kind of proto-y type cabinet. I want to build diorama next year. It's all about the cantina. So I'm going to enjoy picking up some aliens for that from the different ranges to make a little diorama, which I'm hoping I'm going to be able to put some sound and light into. So yeah, long-term project for that next year. And then I've gone back into Black Series and Vintage Collection where I like it, but I'm opening them and I'm just dotting them around my room. So it's just some randomness. To my left now, I've got Padme holding hands with Bib Fortuna. Good fun. Hot toys just keep on coming.
I've got a Tiki Death Star for you as well.
Oh, yes. I still owe you some money for that.
That's still on my desk.
Yeah, things like this I forget, Dan.
The order is gone. I was betrayed by the one I trusted most. I will not be imprisoned again.
I hear you've been busy making yourself the Empire's most wanted.
A Jedi. Remind our friend here why his kind are supposed to be dead. Here we go. After all we've done, the Empire's only grown stronger. Thanks, Bode. Part of the job, Gustus. The Jedi is a threat. Not now that we have this. As long as we fight. Hope survives.
Right then, let's go over to announcements then, because we have got a few to rattle through here. So first of all, Jez, you just told us you're into the vintage collection. What's been announced in the last couple of months?
Oh yeah, well we'll not necessarily go in chronological order, but there's been a couple of recent announcements, very, very recent announcements, which we'll cover off at the end. But yeah, vintage collection, you've got Clone Wars Arc Commander Havoc.
I was about to say, it's a really nice looking figure.
It's incredible, yeah. everything I've seen on this, right? This is one of the first ones, which is when I've looked at the figure outside of the packaging, it's one of the first ones where I think, wow, yeah, that totally belongs to getting ripped off its packaging. It looks outstanding. It's one of the first ones where the packaging doesn't necessarily do it justice, but as a figure in the various different poses, this looks the business. It looks really, really good. So no surprises at all that one sold out really strong. So nice. However, unfortunately sold out. But then we go on to the Return of the Jedi retro collection. Now, we've seen these in the past, and we've spoken about these in the past. So initially, I believe they had the New Hope range. The retro original Star Wars figures came out. We have Luke Jedi, Han in Trench, the Biker Scout, Landu in his Skiff Guard, Emperor, and Boosh, Leia in Boosh Bounty Hunter disguise. I mean, they've all got little tails. You can look at all of these and go, right, yeah, okay, we can figure these out from the original figures. I think the Emperor in particular is looking very, very good. But yeah, I really, really like those. What do you guys think of that set?
Why is Han Solo ginger?
I'm really disappointed that they've done Han Solo trenchcoat, because it's one of my least favourite vintage figures. And now we've got it in a retro as well. It's kind of like...
And it looks like it's got a little leady cape as well. It looks like it's the leady cape variant rather than the original. But yeah, all good questions really. And they got some good ones there. I do like the Lando. Everyone likes the Biker Scout. The hand looks off. You're right though, Craig. Why is he ginger? And the Luke doesn't look quite right. But yeah, it's a nice enough range. I'm sure that they'll do very, very well.
I think it should have probably been an Ewok in that initial wave. I know there has been Ewoks recently in the vintage collection, but 40th anniversary, I think they're a bit central to miss out.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? They're clearly going for a few different scenes. So you've got Jabba's palace with with Lando and Boosh and Luke Jedi for that matter, but Luke Jedi could also be later on in the film as well with the Emperor, so you could double dip with him. And then you've got Han and Biker Scout at Endor, so it's ticking quite a few boxes from that. But yeah, figure choices, I'm sure that you could have come out with something a little bit better, maybe even a droid as well. Everyone knows that they love the R2 pop-up. Who knows? But yeah, it's nice to see a few throwbacks and chuck-ups to the original vintage line. Then we move on though to the Mandalorian, and you've got the Artillery Trooper. So quite like the card art on this. So this is an Artillery Trooper which comes with a mortar gun, a mortar weapon system, as well as a blaster, and some rounds to go in as mortar tube as well. So yeah, that's a nice little figure. Another one from the Mandalorian range. I wish they would do some more Revenge of the Sith range, but there we go. Can't have everything. And now Dan is probably going to tell me how many Boba Fett's there have been, but now you've got the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett 40th anniversary. It looks really good. Of course it does. It's a Boba Fett carded figure, but it's got the 40th anniversary logo top left to go opposite the warnings and everything like that. But now Boba Fett, as we've seen before with other versions in the Black Series and the Hot Toys, coming with more and more accessories, and not just the blaster. It's coming with this little jetpack rocket bits and pieces. Yeah, it's a nice, pretty well-stocked figure. So I'm liking the Boba Fett. And then you've got the Target exclusive Boba Fett, the vintage version. So they're very much the original one, which is, I think they were pooned, weren't they? I think these were the way back. There was some sort of bootleg versions of the original Star Wars Boba Fett carded figure which came out, and now the vintage collection are doing the very same thing. So this was a Target exclusive, and that looks pretty cool.
We should look at the price of that.
Go on.
So your standard vintage collection figure is $16.99. The Kenner Colors Fett is $21.99, and it is sold out everywhere.
I've seen the prices creeping up to about 20 for certain things. I think was the Artillery Trooper. One of them is now coming out at 20, but that doesn't surprise me. So what have you got? An element there, a 10% Fett tax. Yeah, not surprising.
Well, that's Hasbro scalping though. You get it when someone buys it. Buys it, shop $16.99, whacks it on eBay for $20.25.
Yeah,
Hasbro are taking the
scalps. Yeah, Wookiee scalps. Yeah, you're right. You're completely right there, mate. And then we go on to Andor. I really want to see more Andor ones as well. So far, I've just seen the 2 come out, but this one, there's been 2. We'll talk about the Black Series one later on. But from a vintage collection, You've got another Cassian Andor in the Aldani mission. So yeah, nice looking, and not quite sure when that one's coming out. Actually, it's a pre-order, isn't it? But it doesn't say when they're coming out. So yeah, another Cassian Andor one, and then we had the London Film Comic Con, all the reveals. So there was a load of stuff coming out there. So you've got the Speeder Bike and Scout Trooper, the Paz Vizsla Deluxe, and then some repacks. So you've got your Return of the Jedi, so you've got your Woofs, or your Klaatu, you've got your Skithguard, Kithaba, and then you've got your Nikto and your Salut Maya. So, your old Yak face, so some more repacks coming out. And then some pipeline reveals. So Moff Jerjerrod, awesome, Cad Bane, and Nien Nunb, so which is a repack. So, yeah, quite a few things coming out. Still, I want more Sith. I want more Revenge of the Sith. And I'm sure we can get some more Bad Batch at one stage. But yeah, not bad. Don't know what.
Have they still not released any Bad Batch vintage collection?
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
there is some out there.
Yeah, they've got a few, but they were quite quick, and they're not the principal figures. They're not the principal characters.
No, we spoke about this the last. So they released 3. I think there were 3 clone troopers. Said it was Rex and a couple of others.
So we've not actually had the crew
from the episode. They've got like this. It was the original Rex figures. No, so we've had one announced. I think Wolf was the only one that's been announced so far.
Because I'm just getting one of each. I'm trying to hang on for one which I like, So yeah, there are a few sort of Joe randoms on the Bad Batch. Rex being the best one, which I would say. So the Bad Batch you're picking up nowadays for around about 17 quid on eBay. Sometimes maybe a quid or so less. Your Rexes tend to be up at about 25. So I'm just hoping that they bring out some. Come on, just bring out some better characters. You got to be able to do it. So I want better Bad Batch, and I want some more Revenge of the Sith, please. And 2 additional pieces. You've got Star Wars Retro Collection, Forlorn and Zuckuss. So yeah, these are retailing at $27.99, and you can pre-order on Amazon. So yeah, Forlorn and Zuckuss, the wrong way around to what I'm used to. But they both look really, really good. Very, very in line with the original line. I'm looking at mine now, and they're looking very good. Easily confused.
So I think that means they've done all of the bounty hunters now. So I think we're probably going to get a set of them, I imagine, at some point.
Right. No, very nice. Very nice. I'm sure everyone would have seen this, because I haven't seen social media pushed as much for vintage collection as I have over the last couple of days. So we've got the Endor Bunker, which comes with the vintage collection Endor Bunker, which comes with a carded Rebel Commando in Biker Scout costume, which I absolutely love, and the ATST with the Chewbacca. So first of all, we'll talk about the bunker. The bunker itself, lots of images of this online, and it looks great. Some of the detailing is fantastic. They've even got the little sort of panel open, which Han and Leia, where they're trying to hotwire the door. And there are 2 sliding doors on this. So very much like in the spirit of the movie, where you've got the doors, Han tries to do something, and then additional doors close. Yeah, you've got that. So you've got some standard sort of grey doors, and then behind them the sort of brownish ones, which all open. And it's a really nice scene. As scenes go, I think this works really, really well. And I could see it working very nicely with your vintage collection, but also your original vintage figures as well. And I can't speak highly enough about that Rebel Commando in Biker Scout costume. I absolutely love it. And as has been said before, Nick Saint was the name given to this particular character. I know some people are really pushing hard for him to be Rex, but I think that's absolutely fantastic. Don't care the fact that there's a repack or whatnot. I think it's a really, really great set, and it's going to be around about $60. I can see it advertised on Amazon now for $59.99, but not on Amazon UK. So it'd be interesting to see how much that is in the UK. And the ATST and Chewbacca, really, really cool. Nice little setup there.
I was looking on Star Action Figures before we came on. That bunker set that was up. They had it up for $59.99 as well, like in sterling, but it's already sold out. So
wow.
Yeah. Now whether they only got, because they're all the independents are complaining at the minute because they're only getting limited stock. They're not getting huge amounts of stuff. Now whether that's because it's being held back, I don't know. But stuff seems to be selling out really quick if it's anywhere on either than Amazon or on Hasbro Pulse.
What do you guys think about this bunker? Because of all the the vintage collection, little sort of diorama type pieces I've seen like that, I think this is my most impressive.
I thought it was brilliant when I saw it out of the box. I thought the images, I can see that as a lovely little diorama, probably set up with Leia and Han doing the I love you reprise kind of a moment. But I don't think 60 quid's too bad. I mean, you're talking, was just saying $16.99 for a vintage collection figure. She got one in there, making the setup about 40 quid. I don't think that's too bad. Not in what else you're getting for that sort of money.
No, it's clearly not. Bearing in mind it's already sold out.
It was released on Power of the Force. That they've released that bunker. It's obviously a new sculpt for it, but that's not the first time that's been released. They've done that before on Power of the Force. Yeah. No one gave a monkeys about it then.
It's got the whole package for me. I really like it. I really like the card art for the Endor Rebel Commando as well. I think it's brilliant. They've got it down to a T. So for me, that's an absolute win.
Yeah, awesome. Well, look forward to seeing them in Jez's collection in 2023. Now, Daniel, I'm going to come over to you next then, because the Black Series has also been churning out some stuff or announcements.
So the first three we're going to talk about are some more of Stuart's favourites. I'm sure he's going to be the champion for these three. We've got three more holiday edition figures. So first up, we've got a Wookiee holiday edition, which looks like the Black Croissant, and they released a few months ago, but this time it's been painted white. And his bandolier is a nice shade of red. So we've got another Chewbacca painted a different colour. So we've now got the Halloween one. We've got this Black Croissant, and they released an abominable snowman version. What do you reckon to that one then, Stu? You getting that one?
No, one a year I said, and
is that? Oh no, you changed your tune now. I thought you were getting the set.
No, I never said that.
Oh no.
Always said one a year, and I've had one this year.
Then we've got a First Order Stormtrooper, been painted a nice shade of red.
Comes with a little mouse droid, that one, doesn't it? So that's quite fun.
He does. You should get that one. The one that I don't get, though, is this Phase 2 Clone Trooper, and he's been painted brown.
Yeah, but this is my favourite out of the three.
But why is he brown?
Well, why is grass green? I mean...
It's not very Christmassy, though, is it? Look at the Porg. Look, he's wearing a Santa outfit. That's Christmas. I don't know what that is behind him. He looks like a turd. Do you not think?
No, I just think it looks like his... like a Yuletide log.
Yeah. Watch this space. You'll be able to get that for $5 in HMV in a few weeks' time.
I hope so.
Okay. And then next then we have got, so back to some more serious stuff then. So we've got a Din Djarin on Morak, which is Din dressed in the tank driver costume, which is quite nice. And then we've got a Carl Kestis from the Jedi Survivor game, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. So getting a sneak peek of what that character is going to look like. And part of the Gaming Great series. Then they've released a couple of carbonized figures. So we're getting an Emperor's Royal Guard and an Imperial TIE Fighter pilot on vintage card backs as part of the Empire 40th line. And we've got in the regular line from Andor, a Vel Sartha. So the character Vel in one of the windowless boxes. And then from the Clone Wars, we've got a Clone Trooper 187th Battalion. Now these are it's just the Phase 2 Clone Trooper armor with the red markings on it. So yeah, hard to describe. So hopefully Craig will put some photos of that in the enhanced on this one. And on from there, then we have got some London Film and Comic Con reveals. So we've got a Basilis Shan and a Darth Malik from the Knights of the Old Republic games that have been now made into figures. And we're also getting, we've got an Admiral Akbar EU convention exclusive. So I don't know about, we keep talking about these exclusives they've done this year. Traditionally, you'd go to a convention, you'd go to a stand, you'd buy the exclusive and walk away with it. This was a pre-order. So you'd pre-order this carded Admiral Akbar, but they were available on Pulse the following Monday to pre-order for the general public as well. So I'm not quite sure how exclusive they were. I was in Matt Booker's shop a few weeks ago, and I was asking him about it, and I said, "Well, what makes it exclusive?" And he was scratching his head on that one. And then back to what they call the publishing program. So these were the ones that come in like the bookcases. So they've released 3 more figures from that. So they've got a Scar Trooper, I think you pronounce it Mike, a Dr. Aphra, and a Mara Jade. Now, I think we're all familiar with Mara Jade and Dr. Aphra to some extent, but does anyone know what the Scar Trooper is? This was a new one on me. I had to look this up.
No.
So they look like they're the bad batch of regular stormtroopers. So it's obviously from a recent comic series. and the art that comes with that. Various stormtroopers with different configurations of armor. You've even got a big hulking one, like the character from Bad Batch. So yeah, not familiar with a car back, but they're almost like a badge batch crew of regular stormtroopers. And then obviously then you've got the Mara Jade. That's from the Zahn trilogy, Dark Force Rising book specifically, and Dr. Aphra from the Dr. Aphra comic book. Any thoughts on those?
Nice to see Mara Jade back as a figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that stands out for me. I'm not familiar with the comic and these the Scar Troopers, and I know Dr. Aphra obviously, but I'm glad they're doing this stuff. I think having an eye on the publishing is a good thing to do. There's a lot of fandom with the books and the novels.
They've announced the second wave of the Return of Jedi 40th anniversary figures. So the second wave contains the Emperor, Chewbacca, Bib Fortuna, a Stormtrooper, and Paploo. And then we've had some pipeline reveals as well. So we've got an Ahsoka Tano, a Magna Guard, and a Clone Trooper for the Clone Wars 20th anniversary, and an Omega from the second series of Bad Batch. All had pipeline reveals. And that's it for the Black Series.
Not a lot then, really. Not really, considering that's been a couple of months worth.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
But we have had some of our favourites, some Hot Toys stuff, Craig.
We've got a little smattering of Hot Toys, yes. I think it's fair to say that none of these are mainline characters, but fans of Hot Toys are going to dig what they've got up for offer. The first one, we've seen this. We've seen them bringing in some of the smaller vehicles, and I think I see Hot Toys displays, and they can get a little bit, people in a row. The poses are great, but I think having some of these smaller vehicles can really add to a display. And we've seen things like the Stap and the speeder bike. So the first one we've got to look at tonight is the ATRT, which is let me get this right. It is the all-terrain reconnaissance transport. So you can buy this as a separate piece, and you can buy it with the Trooper as well. And I'd like Jez's view on this as a piece of military hardware. I'm no soldier, but I'd feel quite exposed being sat on that.
Yeah, I saw this earlier on, and I was just like, there's something else I was going to mention about military kit in a minute on another one of our figures that we'll discuss. Yeah, it's not really for me. I would prefer a rocket pack, jetpack, rather than something like this. I don't see it's just a massive target, isn't it, really? And you're right, you're fairly exposed. The
phrase "sitting duck" comes to mind, although it does stress that it's for advanced reconnaissance, and perhaps there's they're deployed when no one else is around, and they're just having a little poke about. But
you get on one of those in Battlefront 2, you get hammered. From them.
We'll put a drone up. Technology has moved on. We'll put a drone up. Go and do recce. I tell you what, go and put a massive target on your head and just go and take 10 throw a drone up. But this I'm not taking with this Hot Toy. Thanks, Craig.
I think from a display point of view, it will give you some height in your display. It will add some interest. I see it from that point of view. But it's from the Clone Wars TV series. Yeah, if that's your thing, it's there and it's available for $290 as the standalone piece, and a bit more with the figure. So that's those two. We've also got the 501st Clone Trooper, which they are marketing as a character from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So this is from the flashbacks. 501st with the blue detailing. Clone Trooper available for pre-order for $230. And we've talked about Bad Batch a little bit. With the vintage collection, we've got Crosshair. Now, am I right in saying this is the one we've been waiting for? We've had 4 of the others, I think.
They've definitely done Hunter, Wrecker, Echo.
Yeah.
And I think they've done Tech. I think it's the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. So Crosshair, the bad guy of the Bad Batch, with his skinny face and his high voice. He feels very different. He's a very different flavour of clone from the others. I think he stands out. So we've got Crosshair, and he's available for pre-order. And the final one is a little mishmash of smaller characters from the Book of Boba Fett. So we've got R5D4, the pit droid, and BD-72, the little wobbly droid, who's very similar to the other one that's in Fallen Order. But that comes as a 3-pack for $265. I quite like that. I like the droids.
Yeah, I'm with you, Craig, on that one. I like that a lot. I really do. I think they're quite a charming little trio. I just can't get over the fact that Crosshair's weapon system doesn't have a bipod. I mean, a sniper rifle that long without a bipod just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, not happy with that. But that Crosshair looks brilliant. I think the detailing on his face and everything, he looks just like a really, really knackered and run down.
Temuera Morrison.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say he looks like a knackered and run down. Who's the old cowboy? Does the Line of Duty film director now? Clint Eastwood. He looks like a really, really run down and knackered Clint Eastwood, which I think is the look they're going for.
Chewing his little matchstick.
Yeah, it looks great. I just can't get over the weapon system there. Need a bipod. You can't shoot a weapon system that long without some sort of rest.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad hot toy in there, actually. All a bit fun. I love those droids. Love them. They will look amazing in my collection. So, recently, we've done you boys have recorded a Tiki show. So, Dan, I'm going to come over to you. I know it was Craig's baby, but coming over to you, can you give us just a minute overview of the show and a few of the stuff that's been announced? I mean, Tiki are ploughing it out again.
Okay, yeah. So me, Jez, and Craig we had about nearly hour and a half, 2 hours with Brandon from Beeline. Very kindly sent us over a care package, so we had some stuff to unbox live. So we did it cameras on, and Craig's been busy editing away on that. Yeah, we got some insight into the inner workings of Geeki Tiki and Beeline Creative, some of the history of it. So he spoke to us about some of the original tankards that he released, which I've gone out and bought now. I've gone out and bought one of those just so I've got one. And yeah, he was showing off some new stuff. So some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in this list of stuff they've got coming out, he gave us a bit of a preview of that before I think some of it was officially announced. I think a lot of it didn't go on sale until Black Friday. It all went on sale and we recorded just before that. So it was hopefully that's not giving too much away, Craig, in terms of when the show goes out versus when we're talking about this stuff. But yeah, so he showed off the troopers. So there was a Emperor's Royal Guard, a Scout Trooper, a TIE Fighter pilot, and a new version of the Stormtrooper, which has kind of got all it's got the detail painted into it now, so it's got some black painting on there, and gave us a little bit of a preview of some of the new stuff that's coming out. Do we want to mention any of that, Craig, or are we going to hold that back?
Yeah, I mean there are some surprises to come. There's some things that I certainly haven't seen. There's some things they've showcased before, but not to any great degree. But it was nice to catch up because this stuff comes out so thick and fast. It really is quite hard to keep up.
So yeah, so we had a good old chat. We had a nice time. We get to ask him some questions and talk about all things Tiki. So yeah, it was good. We got to give him some of our suggestions as well. I think some went down better than others. I forget, what was yours, Jess? Weren't very impressed with one of the ones that you came up with. I think you skipped over that.
He did skip over it. I came up with a few because I like to have the everyman thing. I think. Did I say training ball? I mean, I wanted a training ball one as well.
No, you didn't. Great. That would have been good. No, it was the sit-down arcade cabinet.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah. See, I got shut right down. I had a list, and I gave my first one. They were like, "You're not speaking again." But yeah, that's not quite how it went down. But because of the stand-up arcade machine, I was like, let's have a sit-down one as well. That'd be all right. I thought that would be a nice bowl because I've got good, fond memories, and a lot of this is nostalgia. But yeah, training ball would be a good one. I'd also like a lightsaber one. But I think one of my favourite ones is the the skull. They've done the skull one, haven't they? Yeah. Which looks absolutely brilliant, and it's just something completely different. Any Stormtrooper ones would be good. But yeah, the Mythosaur skull, it's just, I don't know, there's something sort of Viking about that, which I really quite like. They're such vibrant pieces, they're amazing.
No, it was a good show. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. There was a few other bits and pieces we've got in the list here. So this is stuff that's, I think a lot of this has already been released, but we've got it down, so I'll mention it. So we've got the Bantha Punch Bowl set and the Sandcrawler Punch Bowl set, which are now both available. A Bo-Katan. There was an Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Obi-Wan series that they've recently brought out, and the Power Droid, which is my personal favourite out of that lot, which at some point I'll hopefully be able to get.
Yeah, all very nice. Just out of interest, I mean, I'm sure this came up on the show, but what about the issues with getting them over in the UK? Did you discuss that?
We did. We didn't get the answers that we wanted, though.
Right.
It's more tied to what they're allowed to sell rather than what they're willing to sell. So there's inconsistency in somebody like, so Reed Pop can ship a Celebration exclusive around the world because they buy the stock and they're responsible for that, and they're at liberty to do that because they're an international show, whereas they have a license for North America and they're restricted to what they can actually ship out. So he did go into sort of some detail with that and explain some of the ins and outs of it. So yeah, check out the show.
And I should have been on the show. So I'm going to ask you another question. Are they going to have a presence in Celebration next year in London?
Doesn't look like it.
No. Again, for similar reasons, but also cost. They have to work out the logistics of shipping fragile drinkware over to the UK, and no guarantee that it will all sell and ship it back. And he did he was quite candid about some of this stuff, but it's prohibitive for them to do it. But they've got plans to progress and try and get this product into the hands of more people globally. So very much on their agenda.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, okay then. So as always, we have got a extensive miscellaneous type area. Now, Craig, you were very excited by these. These are the first things that was chucked into our hub when he said episode 21 from this point onwards, and that is the Funko Retro series.
See, we all love Funko now, don't we? Now we've all been won over by our advent calendars and pushing on an open door. But I really like these. I think these are a good use of the template, the footprint of these little Funko Pops. So what we're looking at are the retro series. Everybody's doing one, and they are inspired by, I'd say, the Marvel comics predominantly. So they've got a comic book feel to them where you have each area of color described by a black edge. So Liechtenstein style artwork on a 3D piece of pop vinyl. So I bought the Vader one a few months ago, which I think at the time was the only one that they'd done. I think that's incorrect. I think they did 3PO, didn't they? And there was a couple more, but they've done some new ones. They've got 3 new ones. So they've got Ben Kenobi, they've got R2-D2, they've got the Emperor, and they've got Chewbacca. And I really like them. I think the colours are great. I think they've got a nice spirit to them. I think the boxes are nice. I think they are set off well by the packaging. I quite like the R2-D2. Will I buy any more? I'm not sure. I like the Vader. He fits with the little display I've got. But yeah, retro series Funko Pops. If you like the Snowman, what's not to love about these?
They've done a very similar series with A Nightmare Before Christmas. I think, in fact, the Christmas advent calendar they've got for Nightmare Before Christmas are all themed like that. Those like bright neon colours. So it's a bit of a running thing through all of the lines by the looks of it. They're going to do this for everything eventually, I imagine.
Watch this space. Craig is going to grow a Funko collection in 2023. Now, Daniel, we've mentioned these the last couple of months, quite new out. Jazzwares Micro Galaxy Squadron packs now being introduced. What are they?
Yep, so they've got 2 packs that have been announced so far that I'm aware of. So the first one is a Escape the Death Star battle pack that comes packed with the Millennium Falcon that's already been released, and 2 of the TIE fighters and a number of minifigures. So you get Han, Leia, Luke, Chewbacca, and 2 TIE fighter pilots. So that's all packed together. And you've got a second one called Evasive Action Battle Pack that has a TIE fighter and a X-Wing packed together with what looks like it is a Luke Skywalker, an R2-D2, and a TIE fighter pilot. So yeah, essentially they're multi-packs of the existing ships they've already released.
They position them quite nicely in the boxes, haven't they? They're quite well.
Yeah, I like the way the TIE fighters are flying away from the Falcon.
Yeah, nice. I like him. Not my favourite.
Have you bought any more of these?
No, not. I've only got the X-Wing at the moment, but I wanted to buy the Falcon the other day. I was in Morrison's and it had a tenner off, but my wife was like, "What are you doing with that?" And I'm like, just buy it." She was like, but yeah. Let's go on then. We've got Iron Studios have done a few announcements, Dan, and I'm staying with you because this is a Rogue One Darth Vader deluxe statue. It's great.
Yes, so these are 1/8 scale, I think. 1/10 scale, so about 8 inches tall. This one is Darth Vader in the corridor, I believe, of the Tantive 4, and he's force choking a Rebel fleet trooper, lifting him into the air and choking him while striding down the corridor. So it's a statue made of polystone, very nice. does look like it's sold out already. I know we were talking about this when it was released. I think you posted it up, and I'm in an R in. So I think they're funny with these, and I think we've obviously got a few more to talk about in terms of pricing. So a lot of them, it looks like, certainly if you're ordering from Europe, you put a €30 deposit down, but it doesn't always tell you the actual price of what you're going to end up paying for it. But this one, I believe, was around the £150-200 mark. But very nice. And I would have, we'll talk about our favourite items at the end, but this would be up there for me. It's great.
Yeah, it is a brilliant statue. And I mean, a few of these I think are really nice that we're about to speak about, but this one for me is the standout of these. So, Jez, there's also a Darth Maul statue.
Yeah, had a little look at this, and there's actually a video which comes with this one as well online. So yeah, for the enhancer you can add that. It's a video with a really inappropriate music for it. But it looks good. I agree. I do prefer the Vader one, but the detailing on this, particularly amongst the sort of soft goods and around the boots as well, really, really good. But there's a lot of energy, it appears, coming out of the lightsaber. So there's from a statue point of view, I've turned my nose up to quite a few in the past, but I think they've done a good job. And again, price-wise, it's difficult to figure out how much these are. I really don't know, but they so I guess it depends on how much they're going to ask for it as to whether or not I say it's a hit or a miss. But on the whole, I think this is very good.
Nice. And Daniel, back to you then. Another statue from Iron Studios, Luke Skywalker and Grogu training.
Yeah, I know we talk about hit and miss. I wasn't a big fan of this one, so yeah, it's obviously it is what it says on the tin. It's Luke Skywalker from the Book of Boba Fett episode, isn't it? With baby Grogu, got a nice grassy stand that it comes on. Another statue, about 8 inches tall. I don't like the face sculpt on Luke though. I think it doesn't look like Mark Hamill, so that would be an easy pass for me. That one.
Okay. Well, thanks for the information. Jez, Boba Fett and Han Solo in carbonite deluxe statue.
Yeah, deluxe. I agree with Dan on his last assessment of the Luke. Not a massive fan. I prefer this one. It does look like, and this is me from a diversity and inclusion, I'm certainly not sort of slamming any protected characteristics or anything, but it does look like they've chunked up Fett a little bit on this one. He certainly looks larger than he was back in the day in 1983 and the original sort of vintage line, and potentially more in line with possible TV shows or something like that. I'm not sure. It's a great statue. It's done really, really well with a nice plinth, really good hand in carbonite, which a lot of people would actually forget because they would just be looking at the Boba Fett. But proportions wise, the Boba Fett doesn't quite look like the 1980 to 1983 Boba Fett, which I remember.
Okay, so a bit of a miss for you then.
I think that would just always stick out, that it just doesn't proportionally, it just doesn't look right. Maybe they're just trying to mix it in a little bit more and sort of fudge things slightly with a TV show. I don't know, but I do like it. I just think, particularly if you were to have a little look now at some of the images which are shown there on the website, and the side profile as well is straight on, it looks like someone cosplaying is Fett in front of a stand. If you're going to spend this much money, I've already said that I mean, this is sold out, right? So a lot of people clearly love it. And I've already said that I probably spend the least amount of money on this stuff out of the entire crew. If I was going to put down some wedge on something like this, proportionally, I just want it to look right. And to me, I don't know, it just doesn't look quite right.
Have you tried squinting when you're looking at it?
All the time. I'm getting old. My eyesight is fading. But it's just, I don't know. Can you see what I mean?
See what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
One more Iron Studios Iron Studios statue. Obi-Wan and young Leia deluxe.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but is this the only likeness we've seen of young Leia in a figural format? Yeah, I think it scores some serious points just for that. I mean, you need to see these things in hand to get the likeness in 3D, and I learned that from the Leia one, the Gentle Giant one, because there are just certain angles, or if you look at it in stereoscopic vision, it just works, whereas sometimes in photographs it doesn't. But I really like this. I think it's quite dynamic. I think it's unusual because we don't see a lot of this representation of Leia. So out of all of them, I think this one and the Vader one, they're kind of up there top of the list for me. Do we? I mean, have we talked about Iron Studios before?
I think we covered the odd piece.
Yeah, because it's I've seen the name. You see it sort of mentioned in connection with retailers, but they're Brazilian.
I think I was going to say that. I was reading up about them earlier as well.
Yeah.
I've got the Dungeons and Dragons diorama set they did. Their stuff's nice, to be fair. They churn out. We talk about people like Hot Toys churning toys out, but Iron Studios, they announce stuff literally daily. I know they've got a lot of licenses on the go, but literally daily. I mean, they've done a whole Thundercats diorama where you buy them individually, and that looks amazing. They're all over Lord of the Rings. I've seen Harry Potter stuff. They've got their feet in a lot of slippers. I don't know where I was going with that one. But, yeah, their stuff's pretty nice. I love my Dungeons and Dragons setup with them.
Did you buy that from them directly, or did you get it second hand?
Well, do you know what? I bought, so 3 of them appeared on Sideshow, where I picked them 3 up, and then the rest of them had all been discontinued. And when you're on eBay, I kept seeing them, thinking, but they were always in Brazil, and I was thinking, this is weird. Are they fakes and stuff? But so I managed to pick one up off Mark Daniels, and then I managed to pick another one up off eBay, which was in France and stuff. And I'm still missing 2 of them. But now I know that they're Brazilian, which I didn't know until Craig just said that. Now it makes sense why there's so many of them in Brazil on eBay. So thanks, Craig. I can shop with safe peace of mind.
It is odd though, like when I was looking on their website earlier, certainly if you ask you what location and you put Europe, and how many of them the new Star Wars stuff they've got up, it hasn't got a final price. You can put a deposit down. It's a bit of a leap, isn't it, putting down a deposit? I suppose you've got the exchange rates and stuff. If there's a long time for this stuff to be released, maybe they're just hedging their bets a little bit with some of that kind of thing with the effects issues. So yeah, I've not seen that with any other licensees. Oh yeah, all of this put down €30, but we can't tell you what you're gonna have to pay at the end. Some pieces have got prices, but others not.
That's just because of the exchange rate and
yeah, maybe
not knowing where it's at when it will be available. So it's kind of don't know. But yeah, my experience with them, I think some of their stuff's really nice. Right. Okay. Sorry. Okay then. So we are going to go over to Jez now, because Kotobukiya have got released another 3 figures, Jez. Kotobukiya. What you got?
Yeah, I'm glad you pronounced that. I was practicing earlier on. I felt like that woman in Willow trying to do a spell. So yeah, first one, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was really excited for this. Got it open. Looked at it, I was like, yeah, okay, so $200 plus tax. It's all looking good. Clicked on a photograph. No, looks like Rylan, that celebrity, Z-list celebrity on some sort of TV shows. They've got the beard all wrong. It just looks just completely sort of coiffured, or whatever the term is. It looks just, he's a completely manicured, beautiful, unreal looking man. And it doesn't look like Obi-Wan Kenobi in this sort of rough area of Tatooine. It's just the beard's wrong, the face is wrong, the skin looks like he's got Clinique, which is a very good brand of sort of skincare cream. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but it's just, Rylan. The Rylan look doesn't look good for me. So I'm going to go straight onto this Ahsoka Tano, and I was like, right, yeah, this is gonna work, isn't it? This oh no, it doesn't work. And I've looked at it, and I'm just like, it just looks like a really good cosplayer, but it doesn't look like Ahsoka Tano. They've got the sort of Dawson face right, that's all right, but I think and I'm a man who appreciates the aliens in our science fiction movies. I've always loved the lady in Avatar, and all of this sort of diversity and inclusion aspects of the various aliens in Star Wars, but the skin tone on this doesn't look like Ahsoka's skin tone in the film. It looks more like a cosplayer whacking on some orange fake tan, trying to get the look right. Ergo, it doesn't quite look right. Do you guys get that? Or am I being overly picky?
I agree. I don't think the face comp's that great either, though. I wouldn't look at that and think of Rosario Dawson. The legs look a bit stumpy as well. I don't know whether the picture's stretched or not, but they don't look quite right to me.
No, and I look at this and I'm like, it's $130. It's $130. So plus tax, and I don't know how much tax is there, right? So, but you know, it's not huge in comparison to Hot Toys. It's like half the price of the Hot Toys. But I would prefer to save up and get a Hot Toy, or I would probably prefer to buy 6 vintage collections or whatever than get this. So the first one looks like Rylan, second one looks like a cosplayer. Then we move on to the Paratrooper, and I'm like, yeah, that's all right. It's all right. It's $180 plus tax, and it looks good. I can't see myself buying it though. I don't know who would. They're quite niche, aren't they? These things. It does look very, very good. Of the three of them, the Paratrooper is definitely the best. But it's not a range. I mean, you feel free to keep on giving me this range every month, mate, and I'll just say how I see. But yeah, not impressed.
Have you got any of their stuff, Stu?
The only thing I've got of theirs is that Ewok thing I purchased a few months back, which I love. I mean, that's Kotobukiya. That I think it's really nice, but that's my only experience of it. I see a lot of it, especially at places like Echo Live. There's always a few knocking around there, and people do buy the stuff, or they must buy the stuff because they churn so much of it out.
I've got a couple of. I've only got 3 at the minute. I've sold a couple of pieces recently, so I've got the Emperor in his throne, and I've got the Yoda from years ago. It's about 20 years old. That must be the Yoda I've got. He's sitting on a log from Empire Strikes Back. That's really good. And I've got an AT-AT driver, and they've all been really good. But just recently, they're just not hitting the mark. I don't know whether it's years ago they used to be great, but recently, whether we've been spoiled by Hot Toys, we're looking at those now and drawing comparisons. But they were. I thought quite a bit of them a few years ago.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, things like I know Hot Toys have been around a long while, but they're definitely more mainstream last few years. Kotobukiya have been around a long while, so whether other companies have just caught up and just overtaken them, I don't know, but haven't opened enough of them to be able to comment really. Okay, well, let's move on to something that I absolutely love. We often give Regal Robot some amazing love. Craig, Max Rebo concept maquette replica.
Yeah, well, we've seen a few of these, haven't we? We've seen a few examples where Regal Robot have had access into the Lucasfilm archives. They've dug out some of these actual maquettes that we used in the process of making these films. They've scanned them in with 3D technology, and they've recreated pretty much what would have been sat around on desks when George Lucas was wandering around Industrial Light and Magic going, yeah, that's the one I want. And what a conversation piece this is. I mean, everybody knows Max Rebo, but maybe not everybody knows Max Rebo in this guise. The obvious kind of remarkable factor about him is that it's how he was originally conceived, to be using his legs and his feet as his arms and his hands. It's a great piece, and fits right in alongside what they did with the Tauntaun. I think they did Jabba. They've done a few other bits. I mean, the quality of what they do is just great. It's we've rattled through a few things tonight, and we've gone from pretty mass market statues, model kits, and then we're into this, and this is next level, and it's reflected in the price. I mean, it's $399 for a small maquette, but for a new piece of modern merchandise, it's got that connection to the movies that a lot of this other stuff doesn't have.
No, nice. I do love that piece. I think it's quite another stunning, striking piece from Regal Robot. From one beautiful piece to something that Dan is deeply invested in, and being a couple more jumbo announcements, Dan, from Gentle Giant.
We go from one extreme to the other, haven't we? Oh, God. Okay, so we've got 2 more of these. How would you describe these? Custom figures, made-up figures that weren't released in the original line. We've got Luke from A New Hope. So it's the medal ceremony at the end of the movie. So he's got his jacket on and his trousers. I don't know why they're doing these. I don't know about you guys. I think this is terrible. I don't know who's buying this stuff. Who's buying it? You've got the Empire Return of the Jedi 40th next year. There's loads of jumbos they haven't done of that people would like, and they're churning this stuff out. So I'm not a fan of this at all. Moving on to the next one. Again, they've done their own kind of retro collection version of Ahsoka Tano. Imagine there's Ahsoka fans out there that will be all over this. But again, they're not doing it for me. I don't get it. We've seen loads of these the last few months, so it seems to be a regular thing. They're bringing these out. People must be ordering them, but yeah, this isn't doing it for me.
What's your favourite of the two?
Oh, God. If I had to have one, probably the Ahsoka. Because I put it in my loft for 6 years and it's probably worth a few quid because I'm a lunatic who's obsessed with Ahsoka Tano would buy it. But yeah, not for me to display at all.
Oh my word, they are awful.
I thought you had to stick up for them then. And then there's
no. If you look at that Luke, right? I don't want to lower the tone or anything, but I've been on a few stag do's in my life, and I've seen a few sort of inflatable companions. And the way that Luke is with his legs and the way his arms are just sticking out slightly and he's got his neck as it is, that Luke could look like some sort of 5.5 foot, 6 foot inflatable companion. It just looks rubbish. £125, you're having a laugh. I prefer to have one of those Ryland things.
But Gentle Giant also do some nice stuff. And there's been a we've covered the mini busts on him many times, but there's 3 Cantina aliens.
Yes.
Announced.
Yeah. Now I quite like these. It's something I do like. So $120. We're starting off with, and I'm going to need some assistance for the pronunciation of some of these names, hopefully. So the Star Wars: A New Hope Cantina creatures who you wouldn't normally see. You know, we're moving away from your Hammerhead and your Walrus Man and your Snaggletooth. So we've got Elor's Madak. Any advances on that? Elor's Madak?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, he's good. About 6.5 inches. It's basically it's the race which is behind. Oh gosh, what's the name of the baddie who's been in
Cad Bane?
Mandalorian. Cad Bane, yeah. So he's got a real bright blue face. Looks like a really great alien with some sort of cool Michael Jackson jacket on. Really, really lovely looking mini bust. And limited to 500. And I really like it. And I think actually as a set, these could look quite good because, there is a set of them. And they vary in prices slightly. So as I said, this one's 120. You've then got the next one in the range, which is the Lav Sivrak, which is like the Wolfman, the Wolverine, the Wolfman. And again, that looks pretty cool. This one is just $100. The bust itself, though, this was a slightly weird one. I don't know, it just looks like it's breaking out. So I think I like it. I don't like it as much as the previous one. I think it's just something beautiful and bright and intriguing about the blue. But it's as a set, they would probably look really, really good. And then the third one, which we've got, is the Labria, which is the Devronian, I think is how you pronounce it. Is the Devaran, the Devronian? Is it Devaran? Yeah. Anyway, the devil chap with the horns, the red face, real sort of, I don't know, looks like he'd actually be a good lad to go out on the smash with because he's got a real mischievous look about him, but a grin at the same time, like he's not all about the evil, he's having fun, and he's there with a sort of Luke's Jedi Palace blaster, and that one is once again 120. So $120, $100, and $120. So the cost of a sort of reasonably decent hot toy, you can get 3 mini busts, which would be a nice little thing on a shelf. I rate them. I like them. I think they're all right.
I like them, and there's already other Cantina aliens out there that you can get. You could build quite a nice little shelf.
And it's refreshing though. They're doing characters like that. It's nice that they're still churning those out and they're not doing another Obi-Wan or another Darth Vader. They're creating those for people that want them. And they're smaller edition sizes as well. I think one of them's only got 500. It's a limited one per customer.
Yeah. So I like these at the moment. I might like them more next week once I open my Luke X-Wing bust this weekend, which I'm going to get because that's going to be a big tell for me.
Well, you say that, Jez. I've just looking on their website. They've got a big Darklighter now as well.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Can you imagine if Jez doesn't like that Luke after all this time?
I just don't know he's broken. That's what I'm worried.
He just opens it and it just looks crestfallen.
Yeah, that's just going straight on eBay. But yeah, they're all right. I mean, we've seen some real rubbish tonight, unfortunately. We've seen some good stuff, but we've seen some honking bits of kit, whereas these look quite good.
Yeah, I like these.
Yeah, definitely up my street as well. Right, okay then. So let's go over to Disney, where there's been a few bits and pieces. Dan, I'm coming to you first. Something that's right up your street is the Star Wars Toy Box New Hope action figure set. What a carry case.
So yeah, these were the Disney or Disney. Was it the? Oh, I can't remember. I had it in my head down. Disney Infinities. Originally, they were this style of figure was released. So it's for the game Disney Infinities, and you could buy the little figures and the base and play the game, the characters in the game. And then that didn't do much business, but the figures were really popular. So they've been releasing these toy box figures now for the last couple of years, and they've released the New Hope set. So you get an R2-D2, C-3PO, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and a Stormtrooper. And they come in a Darth Vader carry case, which is very nice. And obviously, the face of Darth Vader is styled like the figure itself. $129, $130 if you want one of those. So I'm not quite sure who that's aimed at, because although I've bought the odd toy box figure for my son, I don't know if I'd go and throw down $130 on one. Seems pretty pricey, but I imagine there's people out there that are getting these. But yes, they're nice figures. I like them, but I don't like the price.
The Disney website at the moment's got some quite good fun stuff on generally, not stuff we're covering tonight. But they did have this 45th anniversary mystery pin set. And Craig, I had to give this to you because I thought you might enjoy it the most out of the three of you.
I think they're cracking. I mean, I have to admit the whole pin phenomenon has passed me by. I mean, I was over in the Disneyland parks in last spring, and it's a phenomenon. It really is, and this is obviously part of that. But these are, it's hard to get the scale of them, but they're little enamel Topps cards, and they come, I presume, blind bagged. That's why they're mysteries. There's a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. All the main cast characters from A New Hope in their New Hope guises, but they come in little boxes that have been designed to echo the Topps boxes. So the Series 1 Topps boxes with the sort of the redrawn Hildebrand artwork on them. I think they're very cute. They're very vintage. I mean, they are playing to that audience. But yeah, if I was into pins, these might be the pins I'd be into.
Maybe that's where you start your new pin thing.
Maybe. Depends how big they are.
So you mentioned at the beginning that you bought a hanging ornament from Disney. There's been a couple more to go with the one you got.
Yeah, they've done a few of these. I mean, they're not especially Christmassy, a bit like the Hallmark things. I know they did a Luke hanging upside down in the Wampa Cave, but they've got 3 that they've released for this year. They've got Yoda in a little Dagobah scene with a completely out of scale X-wing floating above his head, looks like a toy. They've got the R2-D2 and Princess Leia that I mentioned, that's sort of in a 3D section of the Tantive 4. And I think I mentioned on the video, it feels a bit like one of those industrial cage lifts. But the other one is the throne room lightsaber duel from Return of the Jedi, where Luke and Vader are going at it, and their lightsabers are crossing in front of the Emperor on his throne. Yeah, I quite like them. They're quite expensive for what they are. I mean, I bought it because, I wanted it to fit with some of the other stuff I'd got on the shelf. But when you toss it up and look at the postage, it's about 20 quid for a little ornament, and they're not super craft pieces. They're mass produced and painted in a factory, so probably a little bit on the expensive side, but isn't everything these days.
I do like those. I was trying to get I'm still trying to get the one from last year. So was it last year? I did the Luke hanging upside down in the Hoth Wampa Cave. And yeah, I still haven't been able to track that one down. It's sold out so quick. But they are nice.
Yeah, I was pleased with the one I got. I do like it. Check out the unboxing.
Check out the unboxing over on YouTube. Yes. Right then, Jez, coming over to you now. The Bradford Exchange UK. Often see this pop up across social media. Often seen in the back of newspapers and things, but they're releasing a Mandalorian glitter globe. That's a mouthful. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so this is it's a snow globe. It's a Mandalorian glitter globe. It's quite a cute little thing. So it's Grogu in his pod on a little sort of rock plinth. So you've got Grogu there, and the pod within the pod, it's got a sort of, I don't know, space person's sort of helmet. It's just a complete shield covering Grogu, hence being able to give you the snow globe effect, which is glitter, and it looks great, and everyone looks at it and it's like, oh yeah, that's cute, oh that's sweet, that's really, really nice, tell me more about it. It's a reasonable size. It's about just under 7 inches or so. So So it's 17 centimeters in width and 14 centimeters in height. So it's pretty big. It's not bad. It's bigger than you would imagine. And it comes. Do you guys know how much this is? Because it was always going to be a little bit pricey. Yeah, I managed to do a little bit of digging, because when you see it advertised on Facebook and when you see it advertised on standard sort of stuff, they don't give you the price. They just suck you in with images and this, that, and the other. It's £100 for a snow globe. It's a nice snow globe. It's a glitter snow globe. It looks cool. I mean, anything with Grogu, let's face it does look good. But it's available in 4 installments of £25. And it comes with their famous 365-day guarantee. But £100 plus packaging. So not bad. It's cute. It's not on my list.
Not on mine either. So
does that surprise you, that price, or what?
Bradford Exchange, they're the ones you can do all these like payment plans and stuff with, like paying installments and stuff. No, it doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. Those kind of things are often those sort of prices. So not totally surprising.
It's bigger than I thought. 17 centimeters and in width and 14 centimeters in height. So if you think about, the 14 centimeters quite quickly, just, the height of a ruler, that is bigger than you would expect, a small snow globe to be. But price wise, it's probably, I don't know, maybe double what I thought it might be. That's pretty cool though.
And finally, Dan, I'm coming over to you. Columbia have done a Clone Wars clothes collection. I thought this was right up your street, because I've seen you wearing some right old stuff over the years.
Well, I did have it wasn't the Columbia version, but one of the they did the crew jacket from The Empire Strikes Back, the parka. So there was a Columbia version of that goes for silly money now. I think at the time it was like $500, and now it sells for over $1,000. People go mad for it. So it's a replica of that with all the patches on it from the shooting of the movie. But yeah, they've carried on with Star Wars. So they've done a Clone Wars inspired set of jackets. So there's 2 parkas that are almost the same. One's blue and one is white. One represents Obi-Wan. I think it's the white one represents Obi-Wan and the blue one for Anakin. So yeah, it's a nice parka, I suppose, if you wear a parka. So it's got great big pockets on it. It's got the big furry hood. It's got the Jedi symbol on the up on one of the breasts, and it's a parka for $500. There's an Ahsoka Tano version as well. That's got furry cuffs, and I think the lining of the hood of that has got the blue and white of Ahsoka's, what they call their tentacles, I suppose we're calling them. Are they tentacles? And some little horns out the top that I suppose are tentacles would sit in. So if you're cosplaying as Ahsoka, it's probably quite a nice jacket from that respect. So I think there is a couple of episodes where she's on ice planets where she wears something similar. So yeah, again, I think that one's a little bit less. I think that one's about $375. They've also released with similar colour schemes a blue and a white hoodie. They are, I've got the prices in front of me now. I think £150, $150 for the hoodies, and a couple of baseball caps, again, a blue and a white one to represent Obi-Wan and Anakin. Yeah, I think out of all of that, I'd probably get away with a baseball cap. It's all a bit young and trendy for me. But yeah, if you are of that generation where you can get away wearing that stuff still, yeah, fill your boots if you've got $500 sitting around for a nice parka and you're into Star Wars. But I can't see any of us wearing that. Would any of you buy any of this kit?
To be fair, the parka sounds really warm and cozy. You do that right now.
For $500, I'll buy you a blanket for £20.
Oh, okay. Well, I love a blanket, so that'd be a really nice present. Thank you.
I'll get you a fleece.
They did the Han Solo one, didn't they? No, was it the Han Solo one, or they did the?
It was the Empire Strikes Back. They might have done a version of the Han Solo at some point, but I think the one they're most known for is that Empire replica jacket, wasn't it? It's more of a theme than actually. It's nothing that was worn on screen, is it?
No. It's the Parker equivalent to those jumbo figures. It's like we've got a license. We need to make some money off it.
Well, so lots and lots of announcements for sure we have just gone through, but there's a couple of company spotlights that both Craig and Jez brought to our attention, and I just want to go to you boys just to give these, because they are small companies. Some of them are up and coming. They just give us a bit of love and a bit of promotion. So first of all, Jez, Crystal Art Buddies.
Yeah. So Crystal Art Buddies, they've been around slightly longer than people initially thought. So they were established in 2011, and they're a leading sort of trade supplier of arts and crafts kits in the UK, Europe, and now the rest of the world as well. So they've got 3 sort of main product areas: DIY arts, craft and hobby kits, card making and paper crafting, and then mixed media crafts, including their Pretty Gets Gritty range. So they've been doing this sort of stuff for a while. It's lots of sort of just arts and crafts stuff, which you could do with people could do with their kids, people could do that on their own, people could do for, people take a lot of pleasure from doing other little pastimes, knitting or craft work, rather than just watching TV. You can do this sort of stuff with your kids, or older people could do it with their grandkids. It's just arts and crafts in particular. They have sort of glitter bits and pieces and crystals. So these crystals get glued down into a sort of paint by numbers scheme, and they've been developing over the years. In 2021, Disney joins Craft Buddy's license portfolio. So they just started expanding their UK operations, and now they've got Disney on board as well. So when you look at some of the pieces which they're doing, it's great because they've now got a full-on Star Wars license from Disney. So they've got Marvel, they've got various different bits of Disney stuff, and it's a really good price point. It's a really, really cheap price point as well. We're talking stuff from $4.99 upwards, and they're just good fun. I can see people having these in their office, having them just at home, like on the fridge and all that sort of stuff. So I just thought, it's a small business. They've got the license. And I've started to see them at sort of film and Comic-Cons and stuff like that. So yeah, nice little range, and really friendly team to work with. Actually, I contacted them to see if I could do a small collaboration with them as running Stormtrooper, because I saw that they had the license. They were doing some quite simple things, and I was looking at Star Wars Celebration next year, and they were all over it. They loved it. They loved the idea. They've got Rey's, they've got Princess Leia's, they've got Yoda's, Han's, all these things where you just get the kit and glue crystals in. And they said to me, yeah, brilliant. So they came up with an idea and they pitched it to Disney, and Disney just said, no, not interested in that. Thanks ever so much, but no. So they, unfortunately, Disney have been quite hard over with what they can and can't do, but they've got these really lovely sort of character bits and pieces. And they do various different canvases and all sorts of stuff like that. So definitely check out craftbuddyshop.com, and then also Crystal Art Buddies on Instagram. So you get to see the stuff. It's a nice company, fun company, with just some products which are I don't know, you just get a good feeling from this sort of stuff, knowing that kids are doing it and adults are doing it who might just get a little bit of a sort of mental health break by just doing something where they just get amongst it and have a little product at the end. I really do rate it. So even though it didn't work out with me and them from a Star Wars Celebration sort of point of view, it wasn't through want of trying on their part. So thank you very much, Crystal Art Buddies.
Lovely. Yeah, beautiful shout out. Yeah, come across their stuff, nice and bright and colourful and fun. Also over on Etsy, Craig, you've brought to our attention Nerdmatters.
Yeah, this is a little company that caught my eye, tickled my fancy. I think their take on Star Wars and geek culture generally is just a little bit quirky. It's full of sort of in jokes. It's not obvious, to give you a flavour of the deep cuts that they explore in their merchandise. And we're talking primarily about enamel pin badges and patches and small things that you can wear to demonstrate that I'm into Star Wars, and I'm into Star Wars this deep. So you've got things like the little Yoda ears baseball cap that you'd see in behind the scenes shots in the 80s. One of my favourite bits is Wat Tambor. So there's a Wat Tambor enamel badge where he moves his hand and adjusts his little vocoder from Attack of the Clones. So it's stuff like that. It's stuff you just wouldn't see anywhere else.
Have you seen Whips there?
Yes.
I think I've got a little bit of a holiday special focus going on now. I might have to get...
There you go. They've made a sale already. But things like the Comtech chip set of pins based on the little Comtex from the episode 1 figures. I mean, there's just some fun stuff.
It was Whip Whip Stir for me. That's got to be a first, isn't it? That 4-armed chef on a piece of memorabilia.
Yeah, great.
I mean, they've got the C3PO tape dispenser as a small enamel badge. I mean, come on.
Oh, you need that. You need that in your life. Go with your display for sure.
It's just cool. So I just thought they were fun, quirky little company, doing some stuff. Power of the Force, Lando with all these muscles. Just thought they were worth shining a little light on.
Yeah, I think it's nice to spotlight a couple of these little companies at times who are doing fun stuff. Trying to make a living. Good stuff. Well done, boys. Well done.
And guess what we are ready for now? The cooking. Step 1, we stir the mixture. Stir, 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 stir. Stir, 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 stir. Very nice. Now, step 2, while we're stirring, we also whip. So it's stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, 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 stir. Let's try it again together at an increased tempo, because precision is very important in this recipe, and we do want to have a fine consistency, don't we? So, and on the count of 1. Stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, 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 stir. Come on, faster all together now. Cooking can be fun. Stir, whip, whip, stir. Stir, whip, stir. Wow! Having fun. All right? Coming along nicely now. Step 3. We also have to beat. So, it's beat, stir, whip, beat, stir. That's not right. I'm sorry. Stir, whip, stir, beat. Stir, whip, stir, beat.
Now, it's been a bit of a catch-up show, just bringing ourselves up to date. Like I said earlier in the show, January's show will be focusing on 2022. So if anyone fancies letting us know what their favourite piece is, maybe their favourite vintage collection, favourite Black Series from each of the ranges, we'd appreciate it, and we can feature you on that show. You heard about our Instagram account for Modern at the start of the show. We do also have a vintage dedicated one. Just change the word modern to vintage. And we do have our main Instagram. So go on there and search for Generation Skywalker. You could go over to TikTok, where lots of videos are going on. Just search for Generation Skywalker again. Lots of unboxings coming of modern toys on there. You can find us on Twitter by searching Generation Skywalker, and of course on Facebook. Search for Generation Skywalker or search for We Are Generation Skywalker, and you will find our community page. Head over to YouTube. Again, just search for Generation Skywalker. You will find us videos from unboxings to enhance of the shows to Skywalker Blast. There's all sorts going on YouTube. Jump in wherever you fancy joining us. Now, boys, we've just gone through all those announcements, and as I always ask you, if you could choose one piece to add to your collection that you don't already have pre-ordered, what are you choosing? Let's start with Daniel.
I think I will go with the Iron Studios Darth Vader.
Iron Studios Darth Vader, nice. Craig?
I was tempted by Mara Jade, but I've got 2 Mara Jades already, and she's going to be a bigger version of a red-headed lady in a black catsuit. So I'm going to go for the Gentle Giant bust of the Duros, the Lord Maddock, because I think he'd look great on the bar. He's got that 70s anorak on, and he's cheersing with his little glass of blue beer. I think he's great. He'd fit right at home on our bar.
And Jez?
Hot Toys R5D4 androids.
Nice. Good choices, everybody. Good choices. I like it.
What about you, Stu?
Well, do you know what? I looked through it, and I really did like the Regal Robot Revo, but I have to go with the Jumbo Luke Skywalker Yavin. Only joking. I would definitely go with the Gentle Giant busts, but it would have to be all 3 of them. I just love anything Cantina, and I think Elos Maddock is the standout there. I think you're right. Love it. Love the colour. Yeah, definitely one for my collection if I can source it. Any other business, boys? Anything anyone wants to bring up about modern or just the world? If you just want to have a chat.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. Do you know what? I think it would be great to listen to more of our listeners, and our listeners, if they wanted to send in a voice message or something like that, they could see your email address, Stu, and let's hear from some of our listeners and find out what they think about some of the stuff coming out at the moment. Do they want more Revenge of the Sith, the vintage collection, or do they love that Gentle Giant bust? Who knows what? Let's get the listeners involved.
Definitely. You can email us at generationskywalker@gmail.com, and feel free to leave us a voice note on there, and we can play it in there. Any kind of questions or anything, we can play it and answer it or discuss any points. Nice. Could be a nice little segment. Boys, I think we're about there. I mean, we're heading towards Christmas. We're all after a Bo-Katan helmet or something similar. Yeah, I hope you all get what you want for Christmas. But it is for this show. Goodbye from Jez.
See you next time.
It's goodbye from Craig.
Cheerio.
And it is goodbye from Daniel.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And it is goodbye from me. We're Generation Skywalker. All eras, all passions, all Star Wars.